PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Johnny Venerable in studio with my guy, Brack. Game week, 2 days out. Washington Commanders on the road with our precious Arizona Cardinals. How we feeling, Bo?
Joshua Dobbs, JG in flight on their way to our nation's capital, ready to take on those Washington Commanders. Game one, nearly upon us.
It's been a long offseason. We were reminiscing before we went on air. And yeah, it's been one of those where we've had some ups. We've certainly had our fair share of downs leading into this week. But all in all, Brack, it's taken us a while. We have finally arrived with our definitive Cardinals at Commanders game preview. And it starts right now as you were out at practice today, Bo. Just a careful little walkthrough.
Yeah.
JG and company met with the media, and there is some news to discuss as it relates to, let's just call it the healthy offensive line.
Yeah, or lack thereof, right? I mean, who's going to be up? Who's going to be down? We do know right now that Kelvin Beachum is out.
Yeah.
Hurt his hand. And it's unfortunate for the Arizona Cardinals, who didn't have much wiggle room as far as their offensive line depth goes, but that starting five, still a lot of confidence in it. I think that it's a good unit to start the season with, but as we know, the NFL, it's so tough, especially with such a stout defensive front that you're facing as far as the Washington Commanders, that the Arizona Cardinals are going to have to stay relatively healthy. Otherwise, they are going to be putting some guys out there that are relative unknown.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I know a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't have traded Josh Jones. I don't think anybody expects Kelvin Beachum to be out long.
Give me the argument on that.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's silly. It's like, hey, you keep this guy as a backup to the backup.
Well, here's what I will say to that. Well, but you'd have him right now this week, and I get that. And you want to be able to support.
I've got my raincoat, but then I've got my other raincoat.
All right, hang on a second. I'll play devil's advocate for a second. Paris Johnson Jr. has never played an NFL game. You want to make sure you have a contingency plan, although I think Paris is going to be fantastic.
Right.
DJ Humphries, when's the last time he's gotten through, let's call it a quarter of the season, half of a season? There's a lot. I think there's more pressure on DJ Humphries than any singular offensive lineman. Will Hernandez, modest 2-year deal. Yelda Froldholt, nice preseason. How high are the expectations over the course of 17 games? Paris Johnson Jr. is a rookie. DJ Humphries is the highest paid player on this team. And right now, I feel probably the least optimistic. If you had to picture right now an offensive lineman leaving this game, God forbid, on Sunday, it would be 74 for me, because it's just It's something that's always happened. So I loved the idea of Kelvin Beachum being that safety net. Yeah. You don't have that this week. So against this stout defensive line that you mentioned, I need DJ Humphries to play really good football for this team, to be able to set Joshua Dobbs and James Conner up for success on the edge. He has said and done all the right things this offseason. He came back. He played all of training camp, barely sat out. He looks like he's in great shape. They need him to step up and play all the snaps necessary for this team to compete on Sunday.
When you see and when you hear Jonathan Gannon talk about the process and how it's individualized, right? And we've seen different processes from the artist formerly known as Colt McCoy, right? He had his every third day he wasn't throwing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a poor example, but DJ Humphries had his, Trey McBride had his, Hollywood Brown continues to be on going across his own process that's been put in place by the new staff, the old staff, and Jonathan Gannon and his coaching staff to make sure that these guys come game day are ready to be at, operating at 100%.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, just in the NFL, you can have the best plan in place and you're still going to face injuries. And it felt like, at least on the offensive line, that they had some depth there. And then next thing it's not there.
Yeah.
Outside of the starting five, even Kelvin Beachum, who had a strong camp and made it look like the Arizona Cardinals could move off of a Josh Jones, who's in the final year of his contract, that Kelvin was going to be your swing guy. Then a Dana Staley injury happens in the finale. Jonathan Gaines goes down, and now Beach has the hand injury that, just like you're saying, could happen in the game on Sunday. DJ Humphries, Paris Johnson Jr., they could suffer just as quickly of an injury, and they'll be looking right behind him. And I think the guy is somebody they brought in that has experience on the Arizona Cardinals offensive line coach, in Cardinal O'Donnell. He comes over from the Indianapolis Colts. I say that you wouldn't recognize him if he was sitting right here with Johnny and myself, except for the fact that he's probably way over 6 feet and 300 plus pounds.
And he's the emergency tackle.
He's probably your emergency tackle. But also the interesting thing will be, how do they who comes and who flies and who's active? Who do they potentially elevate tomorrow from the practice squad? Do they elevate a Marquise Hayes? You know, we already talked about the interior of the offensive line yesterday's podcast, where that was my main concern, because with the injuries to Daly and Gaines, you're already so thin there. And then you've got very unknown guys that you just picked off waivers and just put on your team last week.
I like this comment from Dylan. I agree with it. I think they activate Hayes and Howerton as well. This is where you kind of miss Justin Pugh a little bit, because he had that ability.
He's available.
He is available, although, who knows if he's still going to continue playing. He was the left guard that could kick out and play some tackle. And again, they need that versatility, and they don't have it right now. And so while I believe in this offensive line, I think it's probably the most underrated unit on the team, and it has a chance to be a strength this season. 1 or 2 injuries, and it can go by the wayside quick. It can go from a strength to a liability. And we saw that over the course of the preseason as they began to lose valuable depth. I want to turn our attention, Bo Brock, to the receiving core, specifically Hollywood Brown and Zach Ertz. Let's start with the second-year receiver for the Arizona Cardinals and Hollywood Brown. I think he plays. I think this is a precautionary measure. I think we better get used to seeing Hollywood Brown in the injury report every week. But we mentioned it, and I don't want to say this is why he's playing, but he's in a contract year. He's proven it to a new staff. He wants to help his quarterback, Josh Dobbs. This is different than if you're a made man and maybe you can afford to sit out a game or two and get right. I think Hollywood Brown plays through injury probably all year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be somebody that's limited in practice, and he's just going to be getting his body right each and every week just in order to play, in order to continue to build his resume for free agency after 2023, and also, be the main playmaker, one of the more talented wide receivers that the Cardinals have. And it's a solid room, but I'm right there with you. I think as far as Hollywood Brown's availability, I'm not really questioning it. I think at least week 1, he'll be out there making plays for this team. And then you look at Zach Ertz, where, I think.
What would you say right now?
As far as Ertz, I would say it's a coin flip, and he, I think he could be out there, but I think he's going to be on a pitch count of sorts.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I'll tell you right now, I saw a couple clips from practice this week. You saw it in person. Trey McBride, Joshua Dobbs, some good consistency there. And listen, this should be Trey McBride's job. I know that Zach Ertz was tight end 1 and Trey missed some time. We were there at training camp, was not available for part of it, missed a preseason game. Like, this is year 2, Trey. This is a new regime. Like, you should be able to leapfrog, at least for a couple weeks. The guy who's coming off a torn ACL is over 30 years old. Like, if there's going to be a tight end that plays well Sunday for this team to win, it needs to be 85, frankly. And I love Trey McBride. I think he's got the skill set, be a really plus player in this offense. But I think it's a disservice to say, well, we got to be able to lean on Zach Ertz, who could be a couple years away from retirement. Whereas Trey McBride, like, this should be your budding season. Somebody that, granted, came out of a small program in Colorado State, had some flashes at the end of last year. Okay, take that baton, albeit under a different head coach, and run with it in an offense, Bo, that's going to feature not 1 but 2 tight ends on most formations.
Yeah, and it seems like if Ertz doesn't have and come back immediately in his the role that we expect from Zach Ertz, and I think it's unrealistic. This is going to be his first action since the ACL tear last year. And then he also had the other ligament that they repaired because they knew it was going to be shot at some point post-surgery. So, to have the expectation that, Zach Ertz, if he plays, he's going to play a significant amount of snaps. I just don't think that's going to happen. It's a win if he just gets out there.
Maybe some red zone targets.
Right, absolutely. But you have to think, like, how does that impact roster building as far as the 46 that are going to be out there and dressed on game day? Do you add Elijah Higgins to the active roster for game day? Does he get a uniform? Jeff Swaim's there, so it's going to be McBride, Swaim, and then maybe Higgins in some special packages. But it really kind of messes with what you're trying to do.
I love this comment. This doesn't mess with me. AZ Coda, I watch the Cardinals. I listen to PHNX. That's it. That's a recipe for success, my friend. Let's get to some of these super chats, by the way. Thank you guys so much. Already crushing it in the chat on a Football Friday. This is from our guy, Deuce or Gal, $5. Hail to the Redbirds.
You got to sing it, dude.
Hail to victory, birds on the warpath. Fight for OAZ, as JG says.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking gut these guys. Win 27-23. I would say holster that energy here because we've got something special coming up here in just a little bit. But again, you guys are absolutely crushing it. Victor's saying Johnny's hair changes as much as our head coaches. I don't know if it changes that much, but here's what I will say. This was done for good mojo ahead of Sunday. It was done to usher in the Jonathan Gannon era with style and with our friends at BetMGM this weekend. But again, Bo, I still think, given what's going on with Hollywood and Ertz and albeit with Kelvin Beachum, this is a pretty promising injury report for week one. Now, that can change week to week, but you brought it up the other day. The injury report last year coming out of the Cupcake training camp with Cliff Kingsbury and Vance Joseph, it was a who's who of
it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, who's not playing. It was a gut job, and they still found time to make Trey McBride and Majay Sanders inactive. It's not even close to that this year.
Yeah, it's not. And tip of the cap to what they're doing behind the scenes. I noticed, like, it's funny, like, as far as this offseason went, and you had the NFLPA report card, and the Arizona Cardinals got failing grades across the board about their facility. And you're starting to see some of the upgrades, and it's not major upgrades. Obviously, they've got the indoor the field in working order, right? They got new turf in there that players are willing to get out there and at least spend part of the time practicing on, and they've got the cutting edge lighting system in there. And then I noticed they've got like a coffee bar, smoothie bar now on the other end of the cafeteria. And I mean, I don't think I've definitively heard, but I would assume that they stopped charging them for meals.
Yes.
I would only assume that.
Yes.
But they're starting to make changes. They're starting to tweak things, and they're listening to where they fell short. So that's a step in the right direction. So, man, I love the in the chat somebody saying Luketa for offensive tackle. Is he back up? Is he back? I mean, look, Jesse Luketa's on the roster.
When does he get an extension at that point? You play every damn position on the team. You deserve it. I'll pose this question from Michael. Which combination at running back is better, Montgomery and Gibbs or Connor and Ingram? I think it's Montgomery and Gibbs because I was drooling all over both last night.
Yeah.
But I think Connor and Ingram are going to have a good showing on Sunday.
Yeah. I do too. I mean, James Conner, we talked to him today at his locker, and he's just primed and ready to go. He's had a quiet preseason. He only saw, a few snaps.
But a great training camp.
He had a great training camp, and he looks as fresh as anybody could be on this roster, and he's going to have to be, right? Because the biggest question, it felt like, it's like, hey, when are they going to add a back to complement Connor? When are they going to add somebody to, help hopefully go with that work share so it's not going to be on the guy who, is off injured and always misses games in some capacity. You're just gonna give him the lion's share of carries, and that's gonna work out. It seems a bit naive, but it's gonna be JC, it's gonna be Keontae, and then we'll see if they go with Dermercado or if they elevate a Corey Clement.
It'd be interesting if Dermercado was that like true third down back once upon a time that belonged to Chase Edmonds and last year at times Eno Benjamin. I mean, listen, Dermercado, he's a rookie. He defied the odds. I did not think he'd be the third back standing on this team. I thought, and they still could maybe claim or sign somebody, but Kareem Hunt's still available this late in the offseason. How about it? How about this, Caboose? I love this comment here. Calling you out with JG. How about when Jonathan Gannon acknowledges you by name every time he says good question? Hey, we're not the only ones that notice that. That's fantastic, Caboose. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's great. How about I asked him as far as we were getting down here, and we've talked to Jonathan Gannon multiple times this week. I've obviously talked to him throughout training camp and preseason. So to this point, it's like, what else do you have to ask? He's not going to give you anything on the quarterback, right? He said, guys, it's the same story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name a quarterback, even though we've been telling you who's going to be under center for the Cardinals for weeks. But I felt like there was a missed opportunity today. Post practice, I was out there. You guys see the 60-second shorts I do for PHNX. You can find them on this YouTube. And I was about to cut one of those. I see JG walking out. He's about to go catch the team flight. And I say, hey, good luck out there, Jonathan. And he's just like, hey, thanks, loser, or whatever.
Get the hell out of here, nerd.
And but it was, as soon as it left my lips, I was like, there's a missed opportunity, because there's of course an infamous video out there. Jonathan Gannon, the day before the NFC championship game, he's rolling up in his G-Wagon and he's telling some Philly fans that they're going to effing gut these guys. I wanted to, like, immediately I regret not saying, JG, we're going to effing gut these guys. Just a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, that we will right that wrong here on today's show. And I think we have that video. We're going to pull it up here from last year. It's electric, and we hope that we get to recapture it someday here. Do we have that, Damon Dog? You want to get that queued up here, my guy? This was Jonathan Gannon last year before the NFC Championship game. They did gut them. They held them to 7 points in both playoff games in the NFC. And, you know, Philadelphia, they've got their own problems here with Jonathan Gannon and company. We don't have any problems, though, because we're going to be hanging with our friends at BetMGM this football Sunday. And all of you, it's your premier place to watch away games. Arizona Cardinals with PHNX. BetMGM, it's the promo code PHNX and Bo. Bo and I are going to get there at like the crack of dawn. You will not beat us to BetMGM, I promise you, but you can come hang with us. Pre-game, halftime show, post-game show, your definitive Arizona Cardinal coverage on game day is nowhere else but here with PHNX. Again, the pre-game show kicks off at 9:30 and takes us right up to kickoff at 10 a.m. So, you know, you like beverages early in the morning? How about some ticket giveaways, special private prizes, food and drink offers? Hello, it's rocking and rolling, ready to go at BetMGM this football Sunday. We're fired up to see you there. Again, check them out, BetMGM Sportsbook. Check them out this weekend. We're absolutely fired up. Use that bonus code PHNX in the meantime. Perfect time, by the way. Come hang with us at BetMGM this Sunday. Open up your smartphone, your mobile device. Get that sweet, sweet app. Use that bonus code PHNX. Your boy did not steer you wrong yesterday.
No, he didn't.
Did you know what took place yesterday? A Lions dub and an Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. Yesterday's show, if you were watching, plus 360 on BetMGM. Bet 10, get 200 right now. Place your first wager with BetMGM. Again, bet 10, 200 back. He left us in the present, but he's with us in our hearts. Check out the show notes for more details. The departed Shane Diefenbach with more in the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Let's mix it up with some multi-flavored bags for our friends over at OG's Brands. Of course, Arizona's favorite cannabis kitchen and churning out all the best gummies.
They are.
Use that promo code PHNX. Well, it's not going to get you very far. I mean, we got promo codes for almost everything, but just keep it holstered for future promotions with our partnership at OG's. But right now, you can check out ogsbrands.com. Check out the fruits. Check out the creams. If you're kind of on the fence, get the mix bag. Check out which flavors you love. Go to ogsbrands.com. Follow them on social media at ogsbrands as well. And check them out at your local dispensary. You can find them at most Arizona locations. Find out which gummies you like. Go to their dispensary. Buy them right there and tell us all about it. You got to be 21 years or older, of course, at ogsbrands on your socials and at ogsbrands.com.
Arizona Animal in the chat. Casinos love Johnny. I love casinos. I love right now when people add us on Twitter at PHNX Cardinals with their ticket slip, their bets for Sunday, using bonus bets to bet on the Arizona Cardinals. That's my perfect marriage. Cardinals winning football games, free bets from our friends at BetMGM. The perfect marriage. Check it out now. You will not be sorry that you did. What to watch for against the Washington Commanders? I guess we have to preview a team that's going to start Sam Howell quarterback. You know, we're checking boxes here. He's got one career touchdown. The Cardinals are a 7-point dog. Whatever. In the meantime, potentially no Chase Youngbo. That would be huge, but it looks like Terry McLaurin. Somebody gave me shit for calling him something else. Terry McLaurin was a full participant. Looks like he's going to go.
Yeah, it really does look like he's full to go, and that's going to be a big kind of assignment for this Arizona Cardinals young secondary that's featuring a third-year corner in Marco Wilson and a starting 6th-round rookie in Keitrell Clark, and we'll see if they add maybe some veteran snaps to that as far as maybe in the slot and an Antonio Hamilton, and we'll see if maybe Christian Matthew has a role in this secondary to start things out. It feels like Kayvon Wallace will be somebody who immediately comes in from Philly and joins the back end of this defense. But look, it's Scary Terry's the most established.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jahan Dotson, who's about the trendiest young wide receiver coming from his draft class last year.
It doesn't matter, though. Once upon a time, the Cardinals had Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden, and they had really shitty quarterback play. And it didn't translate to wins until they got the right quarterback. Take me as somebody who does not believe in Sam Howell. And I can have egg on my face Sunday night, Monday morning. I don't think this is a capable starting quarterback. And you can trot out, Terrell Owens and Randy Moss. Like, if you get pressure on Sam Howell, it doesn't matter who's open in the back end. And I think the Cardinals have the ability with Zaven Collins, LJ Collier, people are going to laugh at me, maybe a little Cameron Thomas, to make Sam Howell uncomfortable. I also think Marco Wilson is poised to have a career year under Jonathan Gannon in his third year out of Florida. So, yes, if the Cardinals are going to get beat, it's probably because the skilled players are elite in this for wide receiver for Washington. But to me, it's you go back to where this team really struggles. It's the teams that can bully you up front on the offensive line. Washington's offensive line is not a strength. And then the running back core is fine, but I don't think they have a philosophy under Eric Bieniemy now of wanting to run the football consistently. So I actually think even with the elite wide receiver weaponry on the outside, this matchup plays into the Cardinals' hands of sorts.
You don't think Eric Bieniemy, former running backs coach, he's not going to lean towards that run game? And they've got two good guys they're doing it.
That was never their thing in Kansas City. And I know I'm going off of they had the number one quarterback in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes, but I don't know. Even when I watched them this preseason, they want Sam Howell to throw the ball like 35 times a game. Yeah. Like, good luck over the course of 17 games.
I don't think that's the recipe to getting him up to speed or, his maturation goes. Topic 64 already chiming in on the secondary question, and I think he makes a good point here as far as Kayvon Wallace and what his usage is going to be. He has a feeling that Kayvon will be doing exactly what Isaiah was doing in the secondary and should be nice. Johnny, that echoes what you've been talking about. Kayvon Wallace coming over and playing the role that Isaiah Simmons, and I think that also plays into JG and Nick Rawls really liking what they've seen from a Jalen Thompson playing the slot when he's not in his usual safety spot. So I think it just makes the Cardinals, you take Isaiah Simmons out of the equation and you've got Budda, you've got JT, you've got Kayvon Wallace, you've got, your two starting corners in Wilson and Keitrell Clark. I think you're a better coverage team today than you were a month ago.
100%. I think you're a better coverage team than you were last year. Frankly, you remember how rough that secondary looked at times against, Kansas City and the Raiders to open the season. I think the secondary is going to surprise some people, in part because they still have an elite safety duo. I know people want to rip on this team and the defense in particular because they don't recognize players in the front seven. Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker are borderline an elite combo, and I think it's time to reintroduce the NFL into that. Anything else as it relates to Washington that you're going to watch for? Because I'm going to tell you right now, their defensive line, while elite, you can push it around. Where they get after teams and where the Cardinals would get into trouble is if you let guys like Daron Payne and company pin their ears back on third down. You cannot allow Joshua Dobbs to sit back there, Kingsbury style, 3rd and 13, 2nd and 12. Everything has to be manageable with the presence of being able to run the football. The Cardinals like to run the football under Drew Petzing on 3rd and 5. They'll do it. They'll do it this Sunday. And I think that's great to see because this offense cannot function as limited as it may be without Kyler Murray when you're asking Joshua Dobbs after 2 weeks of work to throw the ball 30 plus times. It's not realistic. And I think you can operate that way against Washington. But again, Chase Young plays, Daron Payne, they've got 4 first-round picks everybody knows on that defensive line. You cannot put yourself in 3rd and long, or it's going to be a long afternoon for Nick Rawls and company.
I think even if they get behind, if they for some reason come out and they're throwing on first down, Drew Petzing isn't scared to chip away at 2nd down. That turns back into a running down potentially for the Arizona Cardinals to chip away, put themselves in 3rd and manageable. And you see Chase Young, who it sounds like he's going to get cleared, right? He had it does, right? He's got a neck.
When's the last time he's practiced?
He hasn't, right. And that's a fair question, but it's like you get him back out there. Montez.
He might be on the Ertz
You've got
pitch
Montez
count.
Sweat, but like you're looking at the interior of that defensive line. That's where it gets scary. So you're not going to pound James Conner into those guys.
For
you
sure.
run at their edges, and I think you can neutralize them. One, their pass rush, and two, you could pick up some yardage on a guy that hasn't been out there and been physical, to your point, like Chase Young. I think that might be a good strategy.
I think we're going to see direct quarterback designed runs. As Jose says, cut out the gimmicks, run the football. I think we're going to see, like we did in the preseason, I'll put it right now, put the chips money where my mouth is. I think Rondale Moore is going to touch the football behind the line of scrimmage on a run play.
I don't want people to cringe at that, because the design run that I saw from Rondale was a completely different design run than we
It's a
used
quick
to
handoff.
See. Oh yeah,
It's almost like
way better.
A jet sweep to Rondale Moore, I think, is a really nice option. Like, does Rondale Moore become a focal point of the run game behind the line of scrimmage because you don't have that stereotypical change of pace back? I don't mind that. And then, of course, you always have the ability of Joshua Dobbs to take off on 3rd and long. So for the Cardinals to win this game, I think you're going to think I'm crazy. I think they need 40 rushing attempts in this game. I think 35 to 40 rushing attempts against Washington's front. I don't think it's ever too early to continue running the ball or too late to abandon the run.
Run the old swinging gate on them. Yeah, it's going to be some old school ground and pound. Is that what you're talking about?
When you've got I love Joshua Dobbs, and I love they went after him. Like, you have not had Joshua Dobbs here for 6 months. Like, he's going to get better every week. He's, he's an astronaut. He's crammed for this. But to ask him to throw the ball, especially when Hollywood's been limited and Zach Ertz isn't playing yet, I mean, just that to me is like, what are we doing? We need to set this guy up for easy open throws. It's somebody put out an article this week, and I don't agree with this notion that, Brock Purdy and could Josh Dobbs be Gannon's Brock Purdy? But here's what I will say. The offenses are similar. And what did they do when that happened was, handoffs to Debo, end arounds, boots, jet sweeps. Even when I watched the Niners this preseason, everything is behind the line, everything is screen passes on the run, moving around. There is going to be very little 5 to 7 step drops in this game for Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And that simplifies things. It makes it a lot easier for a guy in Joshua Dobbs trying to acclimate himself to an offense he's familiar with, but he's, a noob. He didn't have the luxury of training camp and preseason with these guys. And there's going to be some lumps he's going to take along the way, and in the way to make things easier for him running the football. And, you've got Will Hernandez. His strength is run blocking. Paris Johnson, his strength, if you were to pick one, it's out there run blocking, even though I think he's a do-it-all type guy.
Yeah.
And why not? And we've seen what we can get from Yeldon Frodeholt, where I think he's more geared towards kind of being a run grader than a pass pro guy.
I agree with that. I also agree with what you had waiting for me as I walked in today. The debut of a special new graphic here.
That's right.
On PHNX Cardinals pregame preview show here on a Football Friday. Bo, take it away.
We played the video, right? Jonathan Gannon pulling up in his G-Wagon saying, we're going to fucking gut these guys. And we've got we're going to fucking gut these guys meter. We're going to bust it out each and every week. How bad are the Arizona Cardinals going to effing gut these guys? And looks like the thermometer right there is almost topping out. It's nearly by a Arizona summer day type temperature there.
I asked, like, are we shooting our load too high here?
Well said.
Over the course of the season, it's a long season, 17 games. I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is very appropriate. 3/4 of the way, we want to be composed. We want to keep our composure, but we also want to gut. We're going to do some gutting. Right. It is Sam Howell, after all,
right?
And we do want to see Sam Howell gutted. Yes, we do.
So eloquent, my co-host Johnny Venerable. But
that's a common phrase people use.
It looks like it's 3/4 of the way up. We're gonna effing gut these guys, and you love to see it. 1-3. That's what Washington's record was against Jonathan Gannon coach defenses.
Not very good.
It's not. And, they had one game where they did go over 30. But other than that, they were held under 20. And I think if the Arizona Cardinals can be in that ballpark and keep it, score just under 20 or more, and we'll see what, Dobbs and Petzing in the offense can do. That I think as far as which direction the gutting goes, I think the Arizona Cardinals could be on the right end of that.
Damon, can you pull that last comment up from our guy? No, one more before that. It's free matter for the blind. Looks like 85% chance of gutting. I agree with that. I think that's a very accurate description.
It's in the forecast
of the gut meter, and we will consistently check the gut meter over the course of this 17-game season. Fire in the gut, these guys. I mean, did you take the bus today to watch this stream? I sure hope that you did. And if you took your bus, maybe you filled up on some premier gas from our friends at Circle K. Hello, driving fans, to download the new exclusive premier app for America's thirst stop. Hello, it's the free membership program with our friends at Circle K. You like saving money? I sure do. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. I saw gas is getting pricey again. It's well over $4 per gallon. Not with our friends at Circle K. If you're using the membership program, get every 6 free on a selection of Circle K products, pizza, coffee, ice-cold fountain drinks. If I wasn't watching the game and eating the sweet apps at BetMGM this week, if I was just hanging out at my house, my snack shop before I watch the Cardinals play is from Circle K. Yeah. The array of beverages, Four Peaks beer, hello. There are exclusive snacks that I think are better than all that name brand crap. It's fantastic. Here's what I'm going to do for you. You can join the Inner Circle for free. There's no membership fee. By downloading the Circle K app today, you're just going to start saving money when you're filling up. Your family's going to love it. You're going to love it. Terms and conditions apply, Brack. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for more information.
Unbelievable. And you know what else is unbelievable just in time for football is Fubo TV. If you haven't cut the cord yet, you got to do it now and make the switch to our friends over at Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com/PHNX and you're going to save yourself some coin while doing so. Watch all your favorite college football and NFL with Fubo. Go to www.FuboTV.com/PHNX and you'll sign up with 15% off your first month with Fubo Pro. Get in with Fubo right now. Watch those D-backs games as they make their run and push for the playoffs. Also, check out the Ryder Cup. Check out the U.S. Open tennis. But more importantly, watch your Redbirds, the Arizona Cardinals, NFL Network, Red Zone. You got it all with Fubo. Is that a QR code? Is that an actual working QR code that people can use right there?
Go up to your computer or
Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Your television where you're watching this. Scan it.
If not, just go to FuboTV.com/PHNX. Damon Dog confirmed that QR code will take you right to where you want to go. Get that 15% off your first month for Fubo Pro. Fubo.TV and PHNX Sports. It's an elite combination.
As is Four Peaks beer when you're watching Arizona Cardinal football. I saw Low Tone Capone in the chat basically say, I'm picking up some Four Peaks beer ahead of watching the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to tell you right now, you know where they have Four Peaks beer on tap, where you can watch the Cardinals with some great friends and some great apps, some great gambling action with our friends at BetMGM this Sunday. The BetMGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn at State Farm Stadium. It's going to be a hell of a time. We're so excited to kick off the season with our friends at BetMGM, Bo, and I think I'm most excited to see the outpour of PHNX paraphernalia because right now, if you wear a shirt, a PHNX short or hat, Bo and I are going to buy you a beer on the house from PHNX.
If you get this sweet Bird Gang Till I Die shirt or the Bird Gang T-shirt you got. Saw our friend David, new diehard member. He got the Greg Dortch shirt even before your boys got it. We work for the damn company, and we host.
We're just waiting in line.
Football show. Yeah, and we don't have a Greg Dortch T-shirt, but our diehards. That's how well we take care of these guys and gals out there. They've got the brand new Greg Dortch shirt. Get yours today. PHNX Locker. Become a diehard yourself. Go PHNX.com. I got a question. I mean, I see the fire in the gut. So should we have a fire in the gut meter too? Like how much fire do you have in your gut?
I like your meter.
And we can have multiple.
I like expletives, and I think Gannon and expletives kind of go hand in hand. I mean, I think he's going to curse a lot this Sunday. I'm absolutely here for it. He was getting after officials in the preseason game. We haven't talked about this yet. I know we're going to get to our predictions here in a second officially for the game, who's going to stand out. But your confidence level in Jonathan Gannon, because I do think it's a different feeling, and I don't mean to keep harping on Cliff Kingsbury. But, like, I remember Cliff's first year. I'm like, what's this going to look like? Do you remember that first half that Kyler Murray and Cliff played against, who was it? The Detroit Lions?
Yeah.
And it didn't look like real football. And they got it together.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, no.
For the tie.
It was like that Will Arnett meme. I've made a huge mistake, right? I don't think we're going to have that. Call me crazy with Jonathan Gannon.
He's just, like, as far as preparation goes, it's not even in the same stratosphere. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonathan Gannon's been preparing for this role And that's why it makes me laugh every time Florio talks about, well, he probably took time, to prepare for his job interview. No, it's like, no, he's been prepared.
Yeah.
That's his whole shtick. Like, he is prepared even to prepare. Like, he said in the Athletic article that he hasn't felt overwhelmed once since taking over the reins of the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job. Like, this guy is ready for this job, and he's not going to be ill-prepared come Sunday. Like, when people were poking fun about the question I asked, and he's going through scenarios, what's really going to fall on his shoulders on game day today and tomorrow about, when is it going to be time to use your timeouts? When's it going to be time to use your challenge flag? When do you go for it on fourth down? Do you trust the analytics? Do you trust the fire in your gut? How do you go about it? And he's still kind of putting the finishing touches on it, but he's going to be prepared for everything. Where Cliff, he wasn't. You could just tell by watching any Cardinals game that there were times in moments in the game where he was just not ready for it, and it wasn't something that had crossed his mind the week leading up to it or before that.
There were some Sundays where it felt like Vance Joseph was the head coach of this team, for better or worse, like the dueling head coaches. I think, and you can call me crazy, I don't have this sourced or anything. This is just a theory I have. I mean, we heard about the news this week that came out in JG's article with our friends at The Athletic, basically saying that it was Gannon's recommendation when the offense was sputtering under Nick Sirianni to move to Shane Steichen, right? Hey, why don't you get Steichen? Why don't you let Shane Steichen, I can never get his last name right, handle the offense? I wonder how much Jonathan Gannon had a presence. I know it was immense in Philadelphia with the players. Like, the biggest team I'm fading harder this year is Philadelphia. Do you lose both coordinators? And was Jonathan Gannon kind of like a dual head coach of kind? I know the players look to him. I do have that source, that the players look to Jonathan Gannon as a leadership role model in the locker room. That I feel like that's partially why he's so confident. Like, he's kind of already done this before. And again, it's going to feel like I'm knocking Nick Sirianni. Maybe
you don't have to. I don't think you have to. I think Jonathan Gannon is going to prove a lot of people wrong this season.
I genuinely believe that.
I do as
this
well.
Is not some shtick for the show Homerville Central. We'll be straight with you guys when we feel like somebody's over their head.
I mean, even in that Athletic thing, I don't think he was trying to pat himself on the back. It's like, I told Nick, why don't you make Shane Steichen our offensive coordinator? And boom, look what happened. Super Bowl. No, I think
he didn't say it like that.
No, but also in that article, he mentioned if the Cardinals wanted to bring him in, he said, if you bring me in and you want me to be your head coach and you want me to call the defense, this shit isn't going to work.
Right.
No, because he wanted to come in and he wanted to be the guy calling the shots, developing the game plans, having his hands in everything from top to bottom of the organization, but in being that master delegator. And I think that's one thing that Sirianni was really good at.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that he helped teach JG about. But I think also JG helped Sirianni just as well.
Yeah.
But I think that Jonathan Gannon is probably in a better position in his first year than Nick Sirianni was in his first year.
Right. Do the Cardinals have an aggressive GM that can accumulate talent quickly? We're going to find out. Can they have a Jalen Hurts of their own and Kyler Murray or somebody else like that? That's what got them over the hump. They were 2-5 that first year. We got to figure this out or we're going to get fired. Here's the difference, though. Cardinals can start 2-5 this year. Nothing's going to happen to Jonathan Gannon. They might start 2-5, or they might start 500, like your boy said yesterday on our prediction show. Check that out. 3-3 en route to a 6-10, 6-11 season. All right, let's get to it. Our game predictions ahead of Sundays.
You want to get to these super chats real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we have a couple. I must have missed those.
We've got our guy Deuce saying, well, that was the fight song. Hail to the Redbirds.
I think we just got one here.
Yeah, it's Topic 64 chiming back in with a $4.99 super chat. This team will be so disciplined. The players will be held accountable. I love it. JG and them are not bullshit. Absolutely.
You can win money on a lot of different apps this year, betting on the over-under for the Cardinals to win over 3.5, 4.5 games, plus money in a lot of places. Just look with your eyes on Sunday and revisit those, because I'm going to tell you right now, this team is going to look much better coached than their talent would lead you to believe. There are probably some coaches that would take this team and this talent, and I think maybe go winless or 1 to 3 wins. That's not going to be this team. Gannon and company feel like they've got 5 wins in the bag by coaching alone. And does it start this Sunday, Bo? Let's jump into your prediction.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit counterintuitive to do the whole 17-game schedule prediction. It's tough because of all the things, how much excitement we have for JG and Monty Ossenfort and some of the players on this roster. but it's still going to be a first-year head coach, and it's going to still be, a rebuilding year, right? Yeah. So when we look at out of the gates and on the road against Washington, I still think that the Arizona Cardinals cover that 7-point spread. They fall 24-18 to the Washington Commanders. I've got my offensive star of the game. We talked about him, right? That run game is going to be emphasized. James Conner, he's poised for a big day and big year. Yep. My defensive star, we talked to Budda Baker. We also talked to Jalen Thompson the other day. Yep. I think that this defense is just set up for those guys to absolutely become those ball-hawking safeties that we've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. And I think Jalen Thompson is somebody we've been sleeping on. They worked out, him and Budda worked out together. They're in the best shape of their career. They're running faster, jumping higher. They are set for a big-time season, and the scheme fits them making big plays for this defense. I think Jalen Thompson's the first to do it between those two. And then my X factor, look who I've got here, Johnny. It's your boy, Trey McBride. Yeah. McBride or die, because Zach Ertz, I think even if he's on the active roster and playing on Sunday, it's going to be Trey McBride is going to be the featured tight end, and it's time for him to shine. And, when you've got a new quarterback that you're putting in the system, he can be that safety valve. I think it's Trey McBride's day. He's your X factor.
You're trying to sweeten the pot for me. I appreciate that with the little Trey McBride. Old conservative Bo Brack. How's your 401k doing? Where's the fun here? This is week 1. This is Sam Howell and Ron Rivera, who's got a foot out the door. He's about to be fired. Damon Dog, the real prediction. The Cardinals are winning this game 24-17. I said it yesterday. This will be a semi-comfortable win in the fourth quarter. People will be shocked. And again, I'll double down with Bo. I don't think the Cardinals can get this dub without James Conner having a big day, kind of by default. I think he's going to be the catalyst for multiple touchdowns in this game. But how about on the defensive side? Kazir White, very familiar with Washington, especially offensively. I don't think he's afraid to go in there and crack some skulls at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be wearing the green dot. Mm-hmm. But my true X factor, do you know who the most tenured wide receiver for this franchise is right now? It's not Hollywood Brown. Right? It's not Zach Pascal or our boy Michael Wilson. It's number 4, Rondale Moore. If not now, win Rondale Moore. You got to be the security blanket underneath for Joshua Dobbs. I think Rondale Moore, I'm going to go out on a limb. He's not hurt. He hasn't missed any time, right? He's had a nice camp. This is your time, Rondale Moore. I think he has his best game as a professional wide receiver in the NFL on Sunday, yak after yak with our boy Greg Dortch. Mm-hmm. It was almost Greg Dortch, and basically every week it's Greg Dortch because he's setting the perimeter and he's returning punts. But this is it for Rondale Moore. I need you to step up for our team. I'm willing you to help us get this dub that they will get on Sunday against the Commanders.
My guy's been right. I've never seen anybody go on a run like Johnny the last couple weeks, from Simmons to McCoy to now is he calling and predicting football
Don't
games,
forget about Dobbs.
Scores in Dobbs, absolutely. And now is he going to predict the score and the win for the Arizona Cardinals? Our GM Saul Bookman wants to chime in.
I do. I think it's going to be a sloppy day.
Okay.
So I don't think passing is going to be very effective, especially not in Josh Dobbs' first game. I think the running game is going to be prevalent. And so for that reason, I'm going to say Keontae Ingram and James Conner will combine for 150 yards rushing.
Nice.
And the tight ends will have a day. I just don't know which tight end will have the day. So I'm not going to go Trey McBride. It's going to be sloppy. So that game's going to be like 13-10.
Who's winning that game?
Cardinals.
There it is. Listen, the entire narrative around the NFL is Cardinals are trying to lose games. They're going to win this game. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've said this the entire offseason. There is only one team that's under pressure in this game, and there's one team playing with house money. You think Joshua Dobbs is under pressure? He just got here 5 minutes ago. Jonathan Gannon's got immense security. Nick Roush is under 30 years old. Drew Petzing's a made man. Ron Rivera is under new ownership and has underachieved in Washington. He has to win this game. Eric Bieniemy, right? Everybody's hotshot coordinator, can't get a head coaching job. He has to produce. Sam Howell, probably this is his only time. He's going to be able to go and make head as an NFL starter. All the pressure is on Washington. They've got $100 million defensive line. To me, it's the Cardinals hang around in this game, and it's a one-possession game in the second half. Only one team's getting tight, and it's not the Arizona Cardinals. No chance.
You almost have me persuaded. You do. And your little not-so-subtle jabs talking about my 401k and how I'm playing all safe. Look, you can rally the troops. I can appreciate that about
the
you.
team really likes Colt McCoy's abilities. Just kind of just check the ball down. And
if they're going to win, though, I mean, Sam Howell coming out in the first half, having a decent performance will be fine. But Nick Rollis and crew, like we saw it on Thursday Night Football, the second half adjustments, like JG staff has to grow up real quick in their first game and really kind of put the clamps down, because what we saw Detroit do to Patrick Mahomes, you sure as shit better be able to do that against Sam Howell.
Well, I mean, I'm going to draw on the preseason, and I know a lot of people are going to scoff at this. They look good in the second half of preseason games. They look really good in the second half of the preseason game. Okay. Again, the second half of preseason game, when they play players on the roster that are on the roster right now against the Vikings, they shut out the Vikings with no touchdowns in the second half. I think the defense is going to play really well on Sunday. I think the defense is the unit over the course of the year that could wear down because the depth's not there at 3 and 5 defensive tackle. And I think the offense obviously gets better when K1 comes. But this parade of touchdowns, like I've seen Washington Commander fans saying like Sam Howell's going to throw 4 touchdowns. Like that's not going to happen. I don't believe that's going to happen.
The days of Vance Joseph taking an opposing quarterback that's got no experience, like the Kyle Allens, and making him look like Tom Brady, like those days are over.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Now, our days are not over here at PHNX, and you had a banner debut with your boy Greg Dortch and the GM Saul Bookman earlier this week. And I think Greg is going to have, again, every Sunday he has a sneaky nice performance.
Yeah, given the opportunity, and his first crack could be the opening kickoff, because he's that punt return man for the Arizona Cardinals that they trust. And then hopefully he'll work his way into getting some offensive snaps. But I think what they want him to really do is shine on teams. Mm-hmm. So we'll see that first. And then, if there's something that happens to the receiving core, we'll see our guy get in there and then do what he always does, take advantage of those opportunities.
Sports here. I love this point. Also, Johnny, low amount of penalties, disciplined, football underestimated. Absolutely. How many times did Cliff Kingsbury's team get him in trouble because they were so undisciplined pre-snap, right? It felt like every single Sunday it was 3rd and 15 for Kyler Murray. Hey, go make a play, K1, right? Calling timeouts when they needed to. It was an embarrassing display pre-snap. And you already know this team's better prepared for that because they didn't do that shit in the preseason, right? They haven't done that during the red and white scrimmage this year. Take what you want from it. Was as smooth and clean a football as I can remember this team's played since Bruce Arians was here. Like this team, if they lose games this year, it will be purely because of talent, in my opinion. Or, Gannon will probably get out-coached a Sunday or two. That'll happen, right? There are great coaches in this division, in this conference. But, you're going to see this team. And I don't want to compare them to the Detroit Lions and what Dan Campbell did last night.
JG doesn't want you to compare them to that.
He did say that today, didn't he? Did you ask that question?
No, that was Bobby Mack of AZ Central. He said, it was a nice story on display last night. The Detroit Lions, kind of their rebuild, the culmination of that for the most part, opening night, they get the big win against the Super Bowl champions. Isn't that great? Do you like that comparison? He's like, actually, I don't. I don't like comparing teams. I don't like comparing players.
It's because they think they're going to win games this year.
Right.
I think, don't you take that away from that?
He does. He was dialed in. Like, as far as he didn't have time for the puff questions like that. He's 100% focused on week 1 in the Washington Commanders.
There are going to be games this year, maybe not, but I do believe that they're going to get, their shit rocked. They're going to have tough Sundays, right? I think that's to be expected within a rebuild. Sunday's not going to be one of those games. I think they're going to be an emotional freight train, and they're going to come out, and I think they're going to play good football. Just for giggles agrees, Josh Dobbs is going to ball out. I want everybody right now in the chat to give me their Josh Dobbs line for Sunday, right? Yards and touchdowns and interceptions, turnovers, but give me yards and touchdowns for Josh Dobbs. What do you think Josh Dobbs is going to do in his Arizona Cardinal debut? Or are you still one of those people who believes Clayton Tune's going to see the field? That would be probably a pretty big disaster.
That would be a huge upset. As far as what we've been hearing, that would rock my world. What JG's described as far as what they want from the quarterback position, he did it again today. As far as you need somebody that can kind of play off schedule, you get out of the pocket, be mobile, make throws, extend plays. It's like you don't get that from a 5th-round rookie week 1.
No.
It just doesn't happen. So the expectation is Dobbs. I just don't think we'll see Tune, but he'll be there, backup to Dobbs, and hopefully we don't have to see him, and he can kind of, obviously this week, the preparation for his first NFL game, and then see what it looks like from the sidelines for the first time. Watch Dobbs operate, see how things go that way, and I think it's just going to make him a better play at the end of the day.
Damon Douglas, rapid fire on these predictions here. 13 to 23 according to Newak, a touchdown, a pick, 100 yards, 175 through the air. Dylan Richards, 17 to 28, 178, and a rushing TD. I like that.
You got the anytime tutty, right?
Yes, anytime touchdown, wherever you want to dabble. How about our friends at BetMGM? 400 yards and a tutty, according to Free Matter for the Blind. I think my favorite on here, and I love all you guys for putting this in here, Michael York, 220 passing, 2 touchdowns, 80 yards running, and a tutty. If Joshua Dobbs goes out and has
the number one waiver pickup in fantasy
I was
football,
just about to say that. If Joshua Dobbs has 3 total touchdowns and almost 100 or 300 yards of offense, it's just like, welcome to 2023 NFL. And I think he's capable. I don't think it's going to be a disaster. Like 16 to 23, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Who's your leading receiver on Sunday?
I still think it's going to be Hollywood Brown. I've seen a lot of questions about Michael Wilson. Look out, Michael Wilson's starting on Sunday. He still has the ability to, win one-on-ones, which he's talked about as well. Michael Wilson, I think, is going to have at least 40 yards, 50 yards in his debut.
And I think you project that out over the course of the season. That's about 800 yards, which is where we think he is going to be. And goodness, for a Cardinal receiver, that is historic, as sad as that may be. Jessica, 17 to 24, 2 touchdowns, 180 yards. Victor,
Matthew Mariotti down here.
What's he saying?
240 in the air, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rush, 40 yards in the ground. Look, that'd be a monster day for a guy that was wearing a Cleveland Browns uniform.
I do think he's going to have a rushing touchdown. I think he's going to get in the end zone as a quarterback on a QB draw or an RPO. Yeah. Wilson will fare better on a slow track, according to self-serving media. Robert, yes, he is. Johnny agreed on the anytime touchdown. Michael Wilson, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's Anquan Bolden-esque in his debut versus Detroit. He went over 200 yards. So this is where the fun begins, right? The fun begins now, the start of the 2023 NFL season for the Arizona Cardinals. And as we told you again and again, and we're going to keep telling you, your premier coverage on game day starts and ends with PHNX Cardinals, the pregame show live from BetMGM at State Farm Stadium. The sportsbook, the premier sportsbook, starts 9:30. Myself, Bo Brock, the newest edition, BG, Britton Golden. We're going to be live from the sportsbook every single football Sunday for away games. 9:30 kickoff show, halftime show, Bo Brock, and of course your definitive post-game show, PHNX Cardinals.
Yeah, come down, be a part of the show. I mean, if you're going to be just like college game day, get out there. Let's fill up the BetMGM on away game Sundays.
Bring your funny signs.
Yeah, bring your signs. Say, we love the Pumpkin King. We love the Wing King. What are you on Sunday? What's your official?
Everything. I wear a couple different king hats on Sunday. I might have a pumpkin drink driving in, and then I will
frowning as you watch Daddy Fantasy. Just
hang on
your
a second.
Phone not light up.
Hang on. Shane Diefenbach took off because in part he's projected to lose to me this week.
He got out of Dodge because of that.
He was so embarrassed he's projected to lose to Danny Fantasy. I haven't seen him since then because my team's so elite. Hello. I need some Cardinal players on my team. I only have one. I only have Michael Wilson, but I'm not starting Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
So
that's probably, that'd be an issue right out of the gates. I mean, as much as we're fans on this show of the rookie out of Stanford, but hey, get your ass down to the BetMGM on Sunday. It's going to be a blast. Early game. They've got great food. We're going to be hanging out there all day long. As Johnny said, starting at 9:30, you wear your PHNX Locker t-shirt. Beers on us.
That's right, baby.
The first one is meet Britton Golden, former Arizona Cardinal as well. It's going to be a blast. If you can't make it this Sunday, come, week 4
yes.
would be the next road game that we're going to be out at the BetMGM. But
we'll have some more stuff to announce.
Can't get out of here without saying thank you to all of our diehards out there. We celebrate 2 years tomorrow here as PHNX Sports. It's been an unbelievable run. I've been so fortunate to work for this company and be able to be a part of this community and get to talk with each and every one of you every single day. That's right. It's our 2-year anniversary. Phoenix, that
squirrely guy.
He's terrible. Phoenix is just an awful person on social media.
Yeah. He comes at me. He'd probably be making fun of my hair right now with half of you in the chat. I appreciate that.
Take it it easy on my boy's hair here.
Hey, man. I went and got my hair cut, and this guy's like, I'm moving to New Jersey. I'm like, that's not a good sign right before you cut my hair. I'm like, hey, maybe you'll be my new barber. He's like, I'm actually leaving. I'm like, oh, okay, bro. So, no, it's free matter for the blind. We appreciate that. Love me some PHNX. Listen, we've made this show exactly what we've wanted to make it.
You were here when they opened the doors. You were just here at the building.
Yeah, they kind of locked me in the janitor's closet. I've slowly worked my way up to the hosting chair alongside Bo Brock. But again, want to thank all of you.
He won't leave.
Without all of you, I'm trying to get a sappy message out. Keep taking shots at me with everybody in the chat. You know what? That's probably pretty fitting here. We appreciate all of you, and we appreciate if you would, of course, like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. PHNX Cardinals podcast. Subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube, and most importantly, ring that bell so you're notified every single time your boys go live, and we will go live again on Sunday morning.
Can we see the fucking gut 'em graphic one more time? We're gonna fucking gut these guys meter. 85% chance we got these guys on Sunday. Cardinals and Commanders. Can't wait for it. Hit the like button for the gut meter as well.
We'll put that up on the post-game show. Again, the post-game show immediately following Commanders, Cardinals on Sunday. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Come out to BetMGM. Thank you guys so much ahead of football Sunday. For Bo Brock, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you at the game.